Polish Foreign Minister Radoslaw Sikorski has stated that Poland will respond in the coming days to a railway explosion that it blames on two Ukrainians allegedly collaborating with Russia. He's described the attack as both sabotage and an act of state-sponsored terrorism, stating that the response would extend beyond diplomatic measures. The blast itself had occurred over the weekend on the Warsaw Lublin line, which links Poland's capital with the Ukrainian border. Listen in to his statement.
Rosyjskie GRU rutynowo do swojej brudnej roboty wynajmuje podwykonawców pod fałszywą flagą. Tym razem był to akt nie tylko dywersji jak poprzednio, lecz akt terroru państwowego, gdyż jasną intencją było spowodowanie ofiar w ludziach.
Sikorski has also announced plans to withdraw consent for the operation of Russia's last consulate in Gdansk in response to the sabotage. Poland says that the two Ukrainians suspected of carrying out the attack have fled to Belarus, of course, an ally of Russia. The Kremlin has dismissed the allegations, accusing Poland of Russophobia, I beg your pardon. Poland, a major hub for Western aid to Ukraine, has been on high alert amidst the ongoing regional tensions. Listen in.
Во-первых, было бы совсем странно, если бы первым делом не обвинили Россию. Россию обвиняют во всех проявлениях гибридной и прямой войны, которые происходят. В Польше, скажем так, все пытаются бежать впереди паровоза европейского в этом плане, и русофобство, конечно, там цветет пышным цветом.
So with us on the broadcast is Mr. Gilbert Doctorau. Thank you for staying put. You've, of course, heard both what the Polish foreign minister had to say, as well as Mr. Dmitry Peskov, the spokesperson for the Kremlin, also had to say. What do you make of Poland pointing fingers at Russia? We do know that Poland has claimed that two Ukrainian nationals were involved who have now fled to Belarus, which is an ally of Russia. But of course, such cases, usually the probe takes time for the findings to be revealed properly.
There are so many accusations against Russia doing this and that in the so-called hybrid war, which is absolutely fictive and just something that the NATO organizers or leadership can throw at Russia because nobody understands what hybrid warfare is. Aside from all these accusations, you'll notice that Mr. Peskov did not deny that the Russians did it. He diverted attention elsewhere. And I believe there's a reason for it, because most likely the Russians did do it. And if they did, it's entirely justified, because this type of sabotage has been carried out within Russia by Ukrainian agents for most of the last 2 to 3 years. And the involvement of NATO member countries like Poland in these acts of sabotage is almost certain. Moreover, if this was done for purposes of inhibiting the delivery of Western military supplies to Ukraine, which is normal practice because Poland is the main point of access for all of these materials heading east into Russia, then it is what the Russians have chosen a rather innocuous way of inhibiting or providing obstacles to that passage. The more obvious thing that they could have, and maybe some people will say should have done, is to bomb the rallying points for all of this merchandise, for the jets and everything else that is being sent to Russia. This is just across the border from Ukraine in the Polish side. The Russians haven't touched that. So by not bombing and really creating an incident that Poland could go running to NATO and to invoke Article 5, if the Russians have disrupted the supply or shown that they can disrupt the supply, it's by a wholly innocuous mirror image act to what NATO has been doing to Russia.
Indeed.
So
Indeed, so go ahead, go ahead. I'm about to take this point forward. There's another piece of the news that I'd not touch upon, requesting you to stay put. This is, of course, a reaction that has taken place after this particular attack or the railway explosion. Now, Kremlin has expressed regret over Poland's decision to close Russia's consulate in Gdansk, describing the move as lacking sanity. Russian officials have condemned the action, which Warsaw announced in response to the railway sabotage that blamed on individuals collaborating with Russia. The Kremlin has called the Polish decision regrettable, framing it as part of what it perceives as an ongoing campaign of hostility towards Russian diplomatic and consular operations. Still with us on the broadcast is Mr. Dr. Rao. You were, of course, pointing out that such attacks have taken place within Russia as well. Therefore, it does seem that there might be a Russian hand in this particular attack. But what do you make of Poland's posturing? Is this some sort of signal that Poland is trying to send not just to fellow members in the EU that it is taking a tough stance, but also trying to send across the Atlantic to the United States?
Poland is taking this action. It's symbolic, as you called it, posturing, because it has very little practical impact on Polish-Russian relations. It's just a little slap on the wrist. However, I'd like to just call attention to one aspect of this incident that nearly all of your viewers will not have understood. How is it that this sabotage did not result in some catastrophic destruction of a Polish train or whatever, as happened in Ukrainian attacks on Russian train tracks 6 months ago? The reason is that Polish rail infrastructure is decrepit. And while they have bought for massive amounts of money wonderful Siemens new locomotives and trains, they never spent 2 cents on upgrading their tracks. And this tragedy was avoided because the engineer of the locomotive spotted that down the track it looked like there could be a problem. Well, he can only spot it if he was traveling 30 kilometers an hour, which is probably what was the case because the Polish rails are antiquated and money for the rails was never appropriated or stolen.
All right, Mr. Dr. Rao, with that, I'd like to thank you for taking out time, of course, explaining the entire context and providing a lot of perspective to us on NewsX World today.